Hey everyone, welcome back. If you're a focused learner looking to get straight to the facts, well, you're in the exact right place today. We're looking at a massive, and I mean absolutely massive, legal shift regarding personal identity. We are talking about the brand new Nigerian legal procedure for changing names. Now, if you think you already know how this works, I really need you to pay close attention, because the rules have completely changed, and the clock is definitely ticking.
Okay, let's dive into this. And don't worry, we're going to break this complex legal transition down into a super easy, logical roadmap. Here's our agenda. 1. The Supreme Court ruling. 2. The step-by-step guide. 3. Gazettes and official certification. And 4. Why you must act now.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the Supreme Court ruling and debunking the old way. So you might want to brace yourself for this one. Is your official name change actually invalid? It's a scary thought, right? I'm talking directly to you here. If you went down the traditional route of simply swearing an affidavit in court and, popping a notice in your local newspaper, the hard truth is that your name hasn't legally changed at all. Your identity is legally exactly what it was before. If you use that old system, you are absolutely going to have to repeat the entire process.
And this brilliantly illustrates the massive paradigm shift we're dealing with here. The old way, using just an affidavit and a newspaper publication, is totally out. The new, mandatory legal procedure requires a deed poll and an official gazette. This isn't just a friendly suggestion, this is the mandatory legal procedure now separating unofficial attempts from a legally binding identity change.
Look, the Supreme Court, specifically in the case of P.D.P versus Degi-Eremienyo, gave the actual definitive procedure for changing your name in Nigeria. It held that those who use the affidavit and newspaper route just haven't done an official change. Basically, yours is unofficial. I know, it's a bit of tough love to deliver this bad news, but we have to ground this explainer entirely on the unarguable authority of the Supreme Court ruling. There's just no getting around it.
All right, take a deep breath. Let's look at Section 2, the step-by-step guide on how to legally change your name.
The absolute foundation of this whole new process is something called a deed poll. So what is that? Well, a deed poll is a specific legal document showing your intention to change your name for all purposes. But to make it valid, it must be executed, which really just means signed by you, the person changing their name, in the exact presence of at least 2 witnesses, and those 2 witnesses must also sign it. This one document is what completely replaces your old sworn affidavit. But actually, scratch the idea of doing this yourself. The crucial point is, you cannot just type this up on your computer at home. The deed poll must be prepared by a lawyer and bear the lawyer's seal. That means you absolutely must secure the services of a qualified legal professional for the drafting and sealing. Once this highly specific document is drafted, signed, and sealed by a lawyer, it becomes binding on you and officially shows your intention to alter your name.
Okay, let's carefully walk through the physical journey you need to take. First, as we just saw, a lawyer drafts the deed poll and applies their seal. Next, you need to write an application letter specifically addressed to the Chairman, National Population Commission. Finally, you take both that signed deed poll and your application letter and submit them together at the NPC Abuja office. Yep, currently all physical submissions must go through the legal department at their Abuja headquarters. Let's move to and see how this builds in Section 3, Gazettes and Official Certification, replacing the newspaper.
So, after you successfully submit your documents at the NPC, what happens? You wait. The NPC will finalize their internal processes and then contact you with the required publication fee. The exact amount actually hasn't been fixed yet, so you can't just pay up front. You just have to wait patiently for the NPC to process your specific application and call you to make that payment. Once you pay, your new name goes into the Official Gazette. An Official Gazette is a government publication reporting notices and legal matters, giving global credibility to your name change. This official government record is exactly what completely replaces the old local newspaper method. It basically serves as a legally recognized notice to the whole world.
Following that Gazette publication, you finally reach the finish line. You'll be issued a definitive certificate of change of name. Let me reassure you here, this piece of paper is your ultimate proof. When you're dealing with really strict institutions, this certificate proves, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that you've legally and correctly updated your identity according to the Supreme Court's strict mandate.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how this impacts your everyday life right now. Banks are already taking note and enforcing this new strict requirement. If you walk into a bank tomorrow to update your account details with just an old affidavit and a newspaper clipping, they are literally going to turn you away and ask you to go through this exact new procedure we just outlined.
Which brings us to Section 4, Why You Must Act Now.
and the future of the system.
You really need to see the future outlook for this system. The NPC is launching a digital online portal very soon. With that digital shift, much stricter application procedures are coming. Most importantly, lawyers will need special portal accreditation, kind of like how they're accredited for Corporate Affairs Commission or CAC activities. They want to ensure that not just any lawyer can prepare an approved deed poll on this new platform. The net is tightening, guys, and the process is going to become highly regulated. And please note, this is essential for absolutely everyone, whether you're a woman preparing to change your surname after marriage or a man changing your name for any personal or professional reason whatsoever. This strict procedure applies universally across the board. There are zero exceptions to this Supreme Court ruling.
So, I'm going to leave you with this final, crucial question to consider. Will you secure your legal identity before the strict online portal launches? Seriously, don't wait until you're unexpectedly turned away at the bank or an embassy. Act immediately on this step-by-step guide before the system gets even more tightly regulated. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Stay focused, and I'll see you next time.